How can I fail if it's all practice? So 2026 for me will be the year of practice. That's what I'm calling this year. And I came to this because for a few years now, New Year's resolutions have just felt like these almost arbitrary goals or these visions we have for 365 days of a year that have these ebbs and flows. And for me, coming out of 2025, I realized that some things have really shifted for me. I want to talk a little bit about that. Honestly, growing in the ways that I want to share and express myself. These are some of the things that are coming up for me. And what better way to mark this beginning by doing this, right? And so I call it the year of practice because, well, first let me back up. So practice is defined, and I have my field notes. I got my notebook, right? So I took a few notes. So practice is to perform a skill repeatedly in order to improve or maintain one's proficiency. And so then I also then thought about the word proficiency, right? Because I think we take for granted words. I think we know what words are because they're used so regularly, but we don't often like honestly just look up the etymology and just the origin of words, right? And so the word proficiency means a high degree of competency, skill, or expertise. Now, what I want to name in this as I was looking up the word practice and just thinking about the word practice is that it never talks about perfection. It never talks about the end goal. Practice never talks about the mastery, right? It talks about expertise, meaning you have a growing skill of a thing, but it never talks about you being an expert. It never talks about the end goal, right? Practice is just this continuous action of growing a particular skill, regardless of what that is. If it's physical, mental, intellectual, it is just a continuous practice of that thing. And of course you improve it, but at no point do you think about what it means to be a professional at that thing, or to be the master, or to be, right, like the end goal. And I'm thinking about this a lot because there was two things that came up. There was a TikTok of a woman who talked about, and I was trying to find it, I couldn't, but this woman talked about how when we choose to do a single thing, so if it's read or write, but we do one thing and not multitask, it is an act of devotion to that thing, and it's how we show our love to that thing. And that really reframed how I think about really like being chronically online, multitasking, right? Falling victim to like writing and watching TV, or writing and listening to music, right? Like having to do multiple things simultaneously. And when she said that, it just clicked something in me that was like, oh, like, because we've heard the thing about dopamine, we've heard the conversations about, we spend so much time on our phones, we're distracted, we're becoming dumber, inside intellectualism, all of those things. But when she framed it as by doing one thing at a time, right? So to solo task, not multitask, but to solo task a thing, if that's a concept. But to solo task means that you are choosing to do that thing, and that thing you're choosing to do shows your devotion to that thing. And that for me was like, that feels really good. It feels really good because I think we almost scold ourselves for being on our phone so much, or being on the internet so much, or being chronically online. But to reframe that idea of not of you're disciplined if you can stay off your phone, but more, or not multitask, but more that if you're willing to write in silence, it's not about discipline, it's about your devotion to the thing that you love and care about, right? And the second thing was, so I've been shifting my movement practice. I've been shifting the way that I like work out and lift, and just really like moving away from traditional weightlifting styles, right? And then I found this guy, what's his name? I'll put it on the screen when I find it, who focuses on movement. And people will refer to him as a master and these kind of things. And he's like, no, he's not from the US. He's like, no, I completely reject the idea of being the master, right? He rejects this idea of being a master because all of it is practice, right? Like when you lift and when you move, all of it is a practice, And so I'm calling 2026 the year of practice because that's all I want to focus on, is practicing the things that I love and care about, right? Practicing discipline, practicing writing, practicing photo editing, practicing publishing. Like I want to practice these things because I think I've been so caught up in the mastery or the being done with the thing that I have not spent the time in practice. And this works for me because for some people it's fear, it's anxiety. Everybody has their own struggles, right? But for me, to name things as practice just literally takes the like, it allows me to breathe. Like it allows me to go, whew, you know? So like when I'm working on my dissertation, if I see writing my dissertation as a practice rather than I'm an expert, I'm supposed to know, you're about to be a doctor, it takes all of the like stress and anxiety out of the process, you know what I mean? If everything is a practice, then there's no way for me to fail. How can I fail if it's practice? If I was learning piano and I was in piano practice, yes, I might make a mistake on a particular note, or I might make a mistake, but how can I fail if it's all practice? You know? And that's all this thing is all practice. Video editing, writing, thinking, like it's all just a practice. Lifting, running, it's all a practice. And yes, you might end up competing or running a race, or for me, submit my dissertation, right? Like that's the end goal. There should be goals, but I think we, or myself, I'm so focused on the end goal. I'm so stressed out inside of the practice. I'm so stressed out inside of the doing. And so the main thing for me in 2025 I saw was that I would overthink, because honestly, I was a bit of an overthinker, but I was more of a like, I would say more proactive. But when I started my PhD program, it made me overthink because everything we do is research based. Everything we do is related to scholarship. So you can't just, I know we live in an opinionated world, but you can't just have an opinion and like write that and publish that, or write that and submit that as research. That's just not how it works in academia. Like you must cite your sources. You must, someone else. Now that doesn't mean you don't have an original thought, but it cannot just come out of thin air. It must be related to past theory, past research, right? Because of that, I would go from overthinking, over researching, to indecision, and then to avoidance, right? And then, and I figured this out today as I was making these notes, was that then I would just be led into disassociation. Isn't that a crazy pattern? Now, shout out to me for sitting with myself and reflecting on what perfectionism and what overthinking does to me as a process. And then that long term becomes disassociation. So that's me putting something down and literally not looking at it for weeks. Or me knowing I need to respond to an email and not responding to it for weeks. I'm facing things head on. And I mean the smallest things. Like I'm terrible at texting. If you text me, give me 2 to 4 business days. I'm sorry. Give me 2 to 4 business days. It can't be like that. You know, I gotta respond to my texts. I gotta respond to my emails. And don't get me wrong, I am responsive, but there's a way that I can put things away and it's not good for me. It's gonna sound crazy. But a thing that has really brought this thing of practice to the front for me was TikTok. I know it's that phone. I know the phone is a problem, but I promise you, honestly, TikTok really held me down. And what I mean by that is that when I moved to Philly, the first day I moved here, I decided to start posting on TikTok. And when I posted the one video, it got like 30,000 views. Now, mind you, I just threw something up there. I was just talking about my experience in Philly this one moment, and it got 33,000 views. Now, mind you, I've always wanted to be a creative. I've always wanted to make content. And I wouldn't even say make content. I've just always wanted to express myself, honestly. And when I posted that TikTok, it was affirmation of like, oh yeah, like let's keep doing this. So I made that TikTok. And so every day after that, I just kept posting and I kept posting every day. And even if it wasn't every day, it was at least 2 to 3 times a week. Now, mind you, on my Instagram, I'll post once, gone for months. Like I am not a regular on my story, I don't post on social media, generally speaking. But with TikTok, it felt like a new frontier because nobody from Instagram really follows me on TikTok. You know what I mean? Like I just was in my own kind of world. And through posting continuously, I got better at editing. I got better at my captions. I got better at talking to the camera. That's literally led me to this point now where I'm creating a YouTube channel because I've always wanted to, but through the practice of posting every day, it made me go, oh, this social media thing isn't like the perfect hook, or it's not the perfect way to speak. You just get better at it. And that's the crazy thing in life, is that everything that you do, if you practice at it, you just get better at it. Doesn't mean you'll become a world champion, but it will get easier to some extent. And that's just so like, it's just so telling of the human condition, because What do you mean if you keep doing something, you will improve at it? Like, it literally is that simple. One of the other things that I want to dedicate to 2026 is that I deeply believe that I know we talk about this idea of being perceived, and people don't want to be perceived, or they don't want to be seen, or want to be judged, especially for Gen Z. I know for Gen Z, being seen and perceived is such a struggle for them. But for me, I recognize in 2026 that, like, I am to be seen. Like, I don't know if you ever hear older folks, older Southern folks say, like, it's good to see you, and it's like, glad to be seen. Meaning I'm glad you can see me. Like, I'm glad I'm here, I'm alive. And to be honest, I'm like, for me, I've always had a talent for speaking. I've always been a really great speaker. I've always been someone that people have connected with me, and I connect with them, and it's just been a natural gift of mine. Social media is just inundated with these realities of people who are performing a certain identity for attention, or for prominence, or for celebrity. And I don't have any interest in that either, right? So it forced me to be offline, because I felt that being online was so, I wouldn't say negative, but it just was fake. It's just performative. Like, people are just online performing a thing. There are so many people who are online doing great things, who are not huge influencers, but have built a beautiful and open community. And that's what I want to build. I've always, when I say always, I mean, in high school, but especially in college, I've always been an organizer, someone who brings people together, someone that people love to coalesce around, and not because I'm popular or I'm a center of attention. I'm actually a little shy, if I'm keeping it real, but more because I think I have this way of making everyone feel like they belong here. They belong with me. We all belong together, and there's no shady mess. So sad to say that, like, I'm just committed to 2026 to being seen, like, to be visible, especially, again, I mentioned this in an earlier video, but like, in the face of AI slop, in the face of the algorithms, in the face of drama, in the face of messiness, that is what bubbles up to the top, or what people are drawn to or forced to be addicted to. That is what bubbles up to the top, or what people are drawn to or forced to be addicted to. I just want to serve as an interruption to that. But more than that, and more than what I'll do for an audience, I'm really just doing this for myself. 2026, I'll continue to have goals and have visions for what my life will look like, but the main focus is practice. Because again, like I said, if I treat everything like a practice, then how can I fail? Right? So come along with me on this journey. If you're not subscribed. If you like this video, please like it. It feels so weird saying all that.